Welcome, everybody, and welcome to the very first day of summer, first full day of summer. And it's a hot one here on the West Coast. We're heading into a little bit of a mini heat wave with temperatures into the 30 plus Celsius range here for us, which is really quite uncommon. The good news is it's only supposed to last for a few days, so we'll take that. All right, a few things we want to get out of the way. Car Cost Canada. By the way, if any of you have used Car Cost Canada and have been pleased with the service, please write a comment in. I've been forwarding them off to Jim Matthews, who runs Car Cost Canada. He loves hearing this stuff. So if any of you have used the service, and if you haven't, sign up using the promo code MotorMouth, the name of the channel, and you become an expert member, and it opens up free searches for you. So go ahead and use the service and make sure you sign up. And if you use it and you like it, let me know. All right, we have other things going on. The Bronco, the big Bronco, the one that everybody's been waiting for, has now started to be shipped out of the United States. So that's good news. So hopefully we'll get one here soon. This is quite interesting. It was a headline on Automotive News I was reading this morning that said, electric car sales in the United States have surged to a whopping 2.3% of the market. So when you see all these headlines about Tesla and electric cars and all this kind of stuff, always keep that in the back of your mind. Electric car sales in the United States make up just 2.3% of the market, and they've surged to that. So we have a long way to go until there's mass adoption, especially south of the border. The percentage is higher here in Canada, just so you're aware. It's over 4% here. Bigger rebates, though, in places like Quebec. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, yeah, Car Cost Canada did that. We have quite a few pictures to get through here today. I'm just going to bring up the first question. I see Jerome has asked, he's got a super chat here, but I saw Rye Clark has a question here about the Tundra. Finally, after over a decade, we've got a new Tundra. It looks fantastic. What do you think about the way it looks? So, where is it here? I have it. There it is. Got to find it. Is that it? Nope. Is that it? Nope. Where the hell did it go? Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the new Tundra. I think it looks pretty cool. It's Boss. It's got a big grill. Toyota loves the big grills. I like the headlamps. I like everything about it. It's a nice looking truck. You know, they've caught on to the whole idea that American truck buyers like big, rugged looking trucks, and that certainly looks the part. So more details on that when it comes. All right, so we have other pictures we have to get to. People sent them in. Where were we again? Okay, let's get to the first one here. This one is from Brian, who traded in his Audi S3, that's the red car, and picked up an Audi A5 Sportback. He went to the dealership and they let him, he was getting service on the S3, took this car up for a test drive, and wouldn't you know it, he bought it. What else do we have here? Oh, I did that one already. This one is from Tim, who sent quite a few pictures in, but I chose this one, a 2014 Focus ST. Next up we have, this is kind of cool. This is from Harold, who has a 1916, this is an old photograph, or a series of old photographs, 1969 Volvo 123 GT. He sent a bunch of pictures as well, but I chose this one. Is taken basically at the same spot is his wife's Volvo S60T that he used to drive. He sent some other Volvo pictures as well. Next up, we have Carter with a GTI that his wife drives with the Nürburgring sticker on the back there. It's a 2013. And he's now considering, for as a fun car, getting a 1 Series BMW or a Mustang GT. That car looks really nice. Then we have, this one is from Dwayne in the United States, who has a 2015 Mazda 6 GT. And he said it's crazy. He went online to look at the prices of his car. And a used Mazda 6 GT is now worth more in the marketplace because of the shortage of vehicles than what he paid for it 3 years ago. And then our last one comes from John, who does a great job sending in pictures. This is the Bronco Sport. Fantastic shot with the dramatic looking dark sky behind. So, excuse me, if you want to get a picture in, send them to me. It's Zach at motormouth.ca, ZACK at motormouth.ca, or ZACK at motormouth.ca. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, come on in, Jack.
Well, hello.
What happened with the Canadians last night?
Not good. I mean, it is what it is.
The Suns, though, are looking good.
They are. They are up 1-0 in the West Finals.
And you picked them to go at the very beginning.
I did. I bought my Devin Booker jersey before the season started.
And who's going to win the West Conference in the NHL?
It's not really West, just semifinals.
Well, semifinals.
Which one? Or both? I'll say Tampa, but it's going to go to Game 7 against the Islanders. And then I want to pick the Habs. I'm going to say the Habs, but you never know.
Can you believe you used to fit into that sweater?
Yeah, I know. That's old. That's old.
All right, Jack. Good job. Thanks for the beer.
No problem. New flavor there.
Pilsner Arkell.
There you go.
Thanks, brother. I love me some Czech Pilsner. Oh, that's the best stuff. Best stuff going. All right, back to the questions. Hey, Zach. Genesis did an unbelievable job on the GV70. Bought a 3.7 in pearl white blue interior today. It's sporty quick SUV, really luxurious. Traded in an 18 Audi Q5 2.0T. Well, listen, Genesis would love to hear that you're walking across the street from Audi into their brand. That's fantastic. So we are getting it next week, the GV70. It's taken a long time. I got to tell you, some of these car companies, when it comes to shipping cars here to the West Coast, they're like, oh, well, still don't have a Mach-E. Still waiting on that. Like, why? I mean, they ship cars all over the country all the time to sell them. Why can't they get us a press unit? Oh, here's Carter. That was his GTI just a moment ago. My friend is planning on expanding his family, looking into a Mercedes GLC AMG 43. How does it compare to the new GLB in space, comfort, safety, and drive? I would say the GLB might actually be a little bit bigger. It's an amazing use of space in that vehicle. I think Andrea ran the numbers on it, and the GLB actually does have a bit more space than the GLC. The only thing about the GLC, and I warn you and your friend about this, is that we are now in the dying days of the current model. There will be a new GLC announced. The C-Class has been announced, and the GLC is based on the C-Class. So look at the interior of the the C-Class to see what we're probably going to be getting from the GLC. So that will be coming probably in the spring of next year, maybe even late this year. So so give it a shot and make sure that you think about if you want to have the old model, which is perfectly fine, or the newest and the latest. I almost forgot that I have a super chat from Jerome. Here we go. Got ahead of myself here with all the other stuff I have to work on. All right, there he is. Good evening, Zach. I was wondering what makes Toyota trucks and cars so reliable. Are they overbuilt on purpose? Can't other car makers do the same? It's quite a few things. It's the manufacturing process. It's the dedication to research and development before they build the car. It's also working with the parts suppliers to produce high-end parts for their cars. But a big part of it is that Toyota doesn't really stretch their engineering too far into the future. I mean, you look at advanced technologies, a lot of them were developed by the German brands in their race to have the newest and the latest. Things like, like BMW came up with the iDrive system in 2002 in the 7 Series. Well, they really pushed the envelope of an infotainment system and a control wheel. But the fact is that it wasn't very good. It wasn't reliable. It's taken them years and years and years to perfect it to the point where it now is. Toyota doesn't take leaps and chances on things like that. They stick with what works, they perfect it, and they basically, in their process, when they're developing the car, improve them continuously. The manufacturing process, how they put the cars together, is second to none. And also, working with their part suppliers is very important. Other brands could do it. It just takes a long time. It's a real cultural thing that they have developed. But thank you for the super chat. We have some more down here. Tommy Olsen, test drive the new Mercedes-Benz EQA. Big fan from Norway. Well, Tommy, thank you very much. I have driven the EQC, the GLC version, but not the EQA. And then there's the EQS, that's the S-Class sort of design car. So yeah, Tommy, we will get them as soon as they're available. We certainly will. Then we have Ken saying, I wanted to say thanks. 90% sure we are going with the Kia Carnival to replace our Odyssey. The rear signal lights bother me though, but that's minor. I'm not sure what would be the problem with the rear signal lights. Now, Ken, I'd love for you to write why you chose it over the Odyssey. Like, what is it about the Carnival that you thought was better? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Oh, by the way, as we get going here, tomorrow the RAV4 and the Mazda CX-5 comparison drops. On Wednesday, there's going to be two videos. One is the new Infiniti QX60. That's sort of like the Pathfinder-sized utility from Infiniti. There's going to be a quick update on that. We have the first images. They're all on the computer here. The first images of the information, the engines, transmissions, all that stuff. I'll have a short video for you on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, there's going to be the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in. That video is going to drop. And then on Saturday, we're doing the Subaru Crosstrek. So lots going on this week. And what is the fun car on Friday will be Porsche 911 Cabriolet. There's John, who sent the picture in of the Bronco. Hey, Zach, what's your thought on all-weather tires? Thinking of them for wife's Optima, save the cost of two sets of tires. The dealership has never heard of all-weather, same as all season, he said. Well, that really does not give you much confidence in your dealer. You got to remember that a lot of the people that write up, the service sort of advisors that write up your order for your car to be serviced, it'd be surprising they'd be surprised to know a lot of them really aren't car people. They're just order takers. So that's too bad that they don't know that. But yeah, there's a big difference between all season and all weather tires. All season is a marketing term that was developed in the 70s that unfortunately still sticks around. I have heard rumor that they might try to fade that out altogether. All-weather tires are a different story altogether. All-weather tires have the ability to have the mountain snowflake symbol on the side. They meet a higher traction test as set out by the Rubber Association so that they can be used in the winter. All season tires should be thought of as a three-season tire: spring, summer, and fall. All weather tires you can use them for all four seasons. The compound of the rubber is different. The treads are different. Now, back to your point about your wife's Optima. And I know you live in the east coast of Canada, and you can get big dumps of snow. But it depends if she's going to be driving in the deep snow or wait until the roads are cleared and then drive sort of after the fact. There are some very good tires out there. I know the Toyo Celsius is a very good tire. I've done some work with Toyo on that. Nokian is maybe top of the mountain. There's quite a few of them now. So do a little bit of research online of which you think is the best all around. Some of them can be noisier in the summer, and others can be better in the winter. So do a little search. There's plenty of brands out there, and I'm a big fan of all-weather tires. Here's Carter again. He's got the GTI. Your thoughts on the automobile assembly location's impact on quality? Some argue that the Golf assembled in Germany is better than quality in Mexico. I disagree with that. I think that these things are set out by the manufacturer for each factory around the world. If you went to a German car factory, a Mexican car factory, a Chinese car factory, on the inside they would all look the same. The processes are the same. And you'd be surprised how little human interaction is with the actual car. Final assembly, when they actually just put the seats in and the dash and all that, that is labor intensive. A lot of it is done by robotics. So robots are putting the car together. This is Jeff saying, love your channel. Have you ever reviewed the Subaru Outback, and what are your thoughts? Yes, there is, Jeff, a video of the Outback on the channel. We went to Yukon Territory in way northern Canada to do that. First of all, a wonderful place. If you ever get a chance to visit in Canada, Yukon Territory, especially in the summer, is spectacularly beautiful. It's beautiful in the winter too, but colder. But yeah, there is a video on the channel of that car. I would suggest, and the sales are reflecting this, that you try the XT. That's the turbocharged version. That's the one I would get. I think that it just makes the vehicle so much better. I like the big screen. I like the interior. I like the fact that it's based on a station wagon platform. It's not a typical SUV. Drives more like a car because of it. And thank you for the super chat. Hello from Germany. Love your channel and you do a good job. Do you also get the new Mercedes S-Class for review? It isn't here yet, but we will get it. Yep, Mercedes does a good job of supplying cars. Not a problem with them. We just have to wait till we get our hands on it. Hey, Zach, love the show. I learned so much from you and Andrea. What are your thoughts on Buick Enclave? Thanks, Ed from Calgary. Now, this keeps going out of focus. I'm a big fan of Buick because most people aren't aware of this, and I've mentioned it over and over again here on this live show. Buick scores well above the industry average and right near the very top of quality studies, okay? You can look going back many years now. This isn't just a new phenomenon. Buick has had much higher than average quality for their vehicles over many, many years. So when you get into the individual products like the Enclave, that's quite a big vehicle, the large 3-row SUV. I have no issue with it. I think that they do a good job. So yeah, have at it. You can also look at the Traverse from Chevy. It also scores very well. There's the GMC Acadia. But in general, Buick does a much better job than a lot of car brands, a lot of import car brands when it comes to quality. Is there a good reason for Jeep to ask 9,000 Canadians for a diesel engine? I guess this is on the Wrangler. I know it's a refreshed engine that required research and development, but it seems to be a shit ton of money for just a diesel. Go Habs go. I would agree with you. I mean, if you watch the video we did recently on the diesel, the Eco Diesel, I said the same thing. This is crazy. I don't think it's $9,000. I think it's $7,300. Either way, it's way too much money for that engine. Now, there's always deals. I mean, FCA has always got, Stellantis has always got deals. And I would suspect that a big part of the diesel sales come from them sort of writing down the cost of that diesel. My big problem with the Wrangler is that I think the Wrangler overall is now kind of getting overpriced. It's not kind of getting overpriced, it is overpriced. Zach, what's the difference between the 2 versus the 3 Series Inline Six? Thanks. So it's a newer, updated version of the engine. The 2 Series gets 235 horsepower, and the new 3 and 4 Series get it's 382, I believe, off the top of my head. But also, one thing they did was they shifted the torque curve on the 2 Series. It was around 1,300 RPM was where maximum torque would kick in. And then they moved that up off the top of my head. Don't quote me on this. I think it's around 1,700 or 1,800 RPM now with the 3 and 4 Series. So it's a higher revving engine to get maximum torque. And that's one of the things about the 2 Series engine. First of all, that engine was out for many, many years. And that low-end torque on such a small car is very, very satisfying. If you go online and read about these two engines, there's a lot of people like the previous, less powerful version because it has better torque delivery. I'm kind of in that camp a little bit. I'm just a big fan of the 2 Series generally, so I don't think there's an issue. Will they put in the more powerful engine? Probably, eventually. So that is what we call a subscriber sip. If you're watching this live, you're probably a subscriber. If you're watching it after the fact, maybe not. And if you're checking it out for the first time, we'd love for you to subscribe. Okay, 220 people on board right now and only 48 thumbs up. There's always 2. There's 2 thumbs down. That's okay. I got big shoulders. 222 thumbs up. 48 thumbs up. If you guys could smash the thumbs up, that would help. I got 3 thumbs down now. Classy. Nice. I'm in the market for a new car, but I'm torn between a Lexus ES350 and a Mercedes-Benz E450. Any thoughts? Thanks. Listen, these are like these are like apples and tangerines. They're not even close. One is a front wheel drive based large sedan. It's basically a stretched version of the Camry platform. So they take the Camry platform, they elongate it, and then they rebadge it an Avalon. And then they rebadge it again with more luxury features, and they call it a Lexus. So the ES350 is, for the most part, a front-wheel drive large sedan. I got no issue with it at all, but it's not going to be the most dynamic vehicle to drive. The Mercedes-Benz is a rear-wheel based, all-wheel drive, true luxury sedan with a totally different driving dynamic. So yeah, we're talking about two totally different things. Jerome is saying, I really wanted to take a moment to say how good Andrea is. Does she have a background in the car industry other than you? No, but Andrea is two things, as being exposed to the car industry, because I've been doing this ever since we've been together, and it's been quite a few years. So she's picked up a lot of it just through osmosis with us talking about cars, being around cars, all that kind of stuff. But ever since she came on board full-time with the channel, you will not meet anybody that works harder than her when it comes to research. When we are not shooting or editing, she's on her computer reading and finding out all kinds of information. So you're getting a lot of information that she digs up because she spends the time to do it. So that's the difference. Instead of just being, on camera and getting sort of the glory for that, she actually does her homework. Hey Zach, what would be your dislike of a 16-17 Hyundai Genesis all-wheel drive 3.8? My dislike? What did I dislike about that car? Not much. Pretty good car. Nice car. There is a video on the channel of it. We did it in Las Vegas. It was hot. I like the car. I think it's a good car. I like that engine. I think the 5-liter is fantastic. But yeah, I don't have much bad to say about it. Hey Zach, what's your thoughts on Lexus Toyota Teammate, the new autonomous drive system from Toyota? Looks to give Tesla Autopilot run for money. I don't really know much about it. I know that I just read an article this morning about the Super Cruise system is going to be rolling out across General Motors cars. All of these brands are going to have some form of a semi-autonomous driving that they're going to be implementing. I just think that it's a lot of proof is when you drive it. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't think that really any of them work particularly well. They're good in certain situations. I think for a lot of that sort of mundane driving, if you're stuck in a traffic jam, you turn it on, it kind of drives itself. That's not too bad. But every single system I've ever used, I drive better. I mean, I try them for like 5 or 10 minutes and then I'm like, I can't take this anymore. I need to drive myself because, I don't know, I'll have to wait until we drive it. I would say the best system I've ever used was Super Cruise. I drove from Vancouver to Seattle in a Cadillac CT6, and I drove almost the entire way down the I-5 from Vancouver to Seattle with Super Cruise on, and it was pretty amazing. Looks like Toyota's about to push their EV line. Finally, Honda, time to wake up. Talk to your bud, Zach. Great content, by the way. Go Habs, go. There's going to be a shift. I just read another article that Honda by 2023, 2024 is going to be introducing their electrified platform. In fact, the Clarity, the ugly sedan, the plug-in, and the hydrogen and the electric car that was sold in the US, the electric one was never sold here, but the plug-in Clarity, that's being discontinued, okay? And they're focusing on their plug-in platform that they're going to be developing. What that signals to me is that they need that production capacity to build some future technology car. So just stand by. They have the small, the little city car that they debuted in Europe that looks like the old Honda Civic. That technology is out in the marketplace. But yeah, they seem to be behind. But like everything, a lot of times with these Japanese car brands, they don't show their hand. Like they're not really flashy. They don't do that. They're not like Elon Musk where everything is always out on Twitter and what have you. They keep their cards close to their vest, and then when it's time to release it, boom, it's all out there. So I would suspect that Honda is in that phase right now. They're working on things. They know they have to do it. This plant closure or getting rid of the Clarity line signals to me that that's going to be happening. They have made bold statements about their electrification plans. You can read about them online. Reducing greenhouse gases, being completely carbon neutral by 2050. That's all happening. It sounds a lot like every other car brand, so they're going to have to move on it. Will Mazda ever make a hybrid version of the CX-5? My bet is yes. And the main reason is, if you're not familiar, that Toyota and Mazda, there's some ownership there. Toyota owns part of Mazda, but joint venture. So you're seeing things like we've seen with the BRZ, the BRZ, the Toyota A6. That car co-developed with Subaru and with Mazda. There's going to be a lot of development sharing of vehicles as they go forward. So all of those hybrid vehicles you see on the Toyota side, almost a certain bet that you're going to see them on the Mazda side. Now, we might not get the very latest, newest hybrid system. You might get like one generation older for them, which they've done in the past. But yeah, when that vehicle gets refreshed and the CX-5 comes out with an all-new model, and there's rumors that that's going to be happening any time now, you can almost bet that will be part of their arsenal, because we have all of these zero emission mandates across the world now. Brands need to have plug-in, electrified, and hybrid vehicles in their mix in order to offset their carbon costs. This is Garrett. Used your promo code from Car Cost Canada. Got a fair deal on my new white Acura RDX A-Spec that I picked up last week and loving it as a new realtor. Thanks. That's awesome news. I'll send that off. I think that's great. Great job on the Wrangler PHEV review. If Stellantis lowered the price by $10,000, they would sell a ton. They would sell tons. All the best to the family. Yeah, Evan, I agree. Evan's in New York City. Evan, I agree with you. My problem with the Wrangler is the price of the Wrangler is astronomical. Do I have it here? Yeah, there it is. 75 grand. I mean, it had lots of other features on it. It was the Rubicon, all that kind of stuff. But holy crap, they charge a lot for them. I think that's just a problem, period. Toyota's on fire. New Tundra TRD Pro color, new Mirai, new EV, new Venzo. What made them move so fast? There's no moving fast. All of this stuff, you got to remember, to generate, build, produce, and finally have delivered a new vehicle is about 5 years. So all of this stuff has been happening in the background. You're just starting to see it now. There is no rush. They don't rush. Toyota doesn't rush. There's one thing I know about Toyota. They plan. So what you're seeing now is the fruits of their labor from many years past. What do you think of run flat tires? I'm not a big fan of run flat tires. They have gotten better. Early days of run flats, very noisy, harsh, not very fun to drive with. And there have been cases where the run flats don't live up to their promise, which is to be able to drive a distance once the tire lets loose. I was a witness to that firsthand. Friends of ours have an X3. We were driving from Vancouver up into the interior BC. A rear tire let loose. The thing just disintegrated. They couldn't drive on it. So that can happen. I would say they're getting better. I would prefer car manufacturers just give us a small donut tire that they could put in there, but they're doing it to save weight. With these little repair kits and what have you. I like a full-size spare tire, but it does add a lot of weight to the car. I wish they didn't do it. Do you think getting a RAV4 Prime or a RAV4 Hybrid as a secondary car? Open to hear your thoughts. Stephen, what I would suggest right now, a RAV4 Prime is like almost impossible to get. It's like winning the lotto. There's stories of people on waiting lists that could be up to 2 years long. I would get a RAV4 Hybrid, because if you're using it as a secondary vehicle, that's really not where you're going to get the primary savings. If you're going to have a plug-in and you use it all the time and you can plug it in all the time and garner the savings quickly, then yeah, that makes more sense. But if you're only using it as a second vehicle, the great thing about RAV4 Hybrid, trying to remember the cost. I think it's only like $1,300 or $1,500 more than the gasoline equivalent to get the hybrid model. And you start saving money immediately. Doesn't take you as long to make up the difference in the price. These things have an incredible following, great resale value, and you could maybe buy one or even lease one for a short period of time. Wait for the ability of Toyota to up the capacity of the RAV4 Prime and get them into the marketplace, and maybe even with better pricing, and then make the switch. But if you're using this as a second car, you're not going to be using it as your primary vehicle, I say RAV4 hybrid all day long. Eric from Montreal. Hey, Zach, just spent a couple of weeks in Stowe, Vermont, and every fifth car on the road was a 4Runner and Tacoma, durable haulers. Did you have to quarantine when you came back, Eric? I wonder how that was. Yeah, it's amazing how different parts of the country have favorites. So I wasn't aware of that. I've been to Vermont, but only for like a day. Oregon, south of here. So next one south is Washington. Then you go to Oregon. Subaru. It's like Subaru. Every second car is a Subaru. It's crazy how different areas they have favorites. Is the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid 2020 a better buy than an Audi Q3? Which one would you choose? Gas prices are really high in Vancouver. Well, listen, if it's all about gas prices, then the hybrid is the way to go. If it's about more than that, if it's about the badge and the prestige and all those sorts of things, then maybe the Q3. The Q3 is fairly small. It uses regular gas, which is quite good. But yeah, it's never going to be as efficient as a hybrid. So give the Tucson a shot. And if it's all about badge appeal, you're never going to get past that with the Hyundai. However, if you're worried about gas prices, then they're astronomical. It just give you a newsflash. For people who don't live in the Vancouver area, Jin obviously does, fuel prices here are $1.55 a liter. That's for regular gas. If you put premium in, it's $1.75 a liter. I know in Eastern Canada, it's a lot less expensive, and much less expensive in Alberta. In the United States, it's really cheap. What does that work out to? Let me just, I think it's 4.4. So let me just do this. 4.4 times 1.55 equals, that's $6.80 a gallon. Is that right? You guys can check the math on that. I think that works out to $6.80 a gallon. If Americans had to pay that for gas, there'd be guns out, driving down Main Street. But in Canada, we just seem to take it. Florin, hey Zach, would you choose between a Subaru Ascent Limited and a Toyota 4Runner Trail Edition for daily short commute and occasional drive to Cottage? I know the differences between them. Well, first of all, one is a 7-passenger, and from what I know, the 4Runner is only available five seats. I don't think they have jump seats in the back, from what I can remember. One is hard on gas. Okay, that's the Toyota 4Runner. It's going to use a lot more gas. It's got the 4-liter V6. It's an old engine, bulletproof, but it will use a lot more gas. But you have to look at the overall ownership experience. Okay, so from when you buy it to when you sell it, Subaru has excellent resale value. There's no question about it. But the Toyota 4Runner has exceptional resale value. So you're going to spend more on gas while you own it, but you're going to get a lot of that money back when you trade it in or sell it. Because the Toyota 4Runner, along with the Tacoma, along with the old FJ Cruiser, the used values of these things, astronomical. So always consider that. So the 2.4 turbo in the Ascent is a great engine, but you've got a continuously variable transmission. It's going to be much, much better on fuel for those runs up to the Cottage, especially good on gas on the highway. I think it's around 9 liters per 100 kilometers. So think about it. One is a truck. That's got the sort of bouncy suspension because it's based on a pickup truck. And then the Ascent is, a car-based platform, going to be much more refined to drive. So you have to really think about what you want. Queen's Half Corgi, interested to hear what you think of the ID4. All the reviews seem basically say it is the most affordable EV in the class, but it's just okay. I sent an email this morning, funny you mentioned this, to my pal Thomas Tetzlaff from Toyota Canada. Sorry, I mean, slip there. From Volkswagen Canada. Sorry, Thomas. about the ID4. Still waiting. He's promised one's coming, so we'll have to wait and see. That was their goal, though. They wanted to have a vehicle that would compete with non-electric vehicles. So looking at the price, they wanted it to be similar to a RAV4 or a CRV. And I think they kind of accomplished that when you factor in the rebates. But yeah, I'll have to wait until we drive it. Scott's here. Good evening from Nova Scotia. I use Car Cost Canada when I bought my Civic. Do you have favorite colors from certain manufacturers? I think Honda have the best blue paint, while Mazda does a great red. Mazda red is fantastic. That is a great color. Honda blue, I think the new Audi blue I really like. I think that's actually, there was a picture somebody put in there of the A5 Sportback. I think that's a great looking color. But color is so subjective. It really is. You have to, do a gut check with what you really like. Here's an interesting story. I never liked white cars. We have a Cayenne now that's white. Now I love white cars. It's totally changed my mind on it. When is the two-row Grand Cherokee coming out? I don't know. It's imminent. It'll be coming. Hopefully soon. Hey, Zach, going to buy a 17 BMW X328i all-wheel drive with 75,000 kilometers on it. Dealer is offering powertrain warranty up to June 2022. Buying extended warranty for 2 more years, costing $4,500 extra. Is it worth it? I would have a look around and see what you can find out about buying an extended warranty outside of the dealer. Always remember that when the dealer is trying to sell you an extended warranty, it's a profit center for them. Okay, so, and always you can go back and offer them less money for that warranty. So there's a big chunk of profit in it for the dealer and the salesperson or the business person that wants to sell you that warranty. Okay, so keep that in mind. That seems kind of expensive to me, almost $5,000 for 2 years worth of, you could just put $5,000 in the bank as a safety measure for any kind of outstanding repairs. So shop around, do some research online, and see what you can figure out, okay? Check out a website called CPO Canada. CPO Canada. I'm going to be doing some work with them, and hopefully they're going to be a sponsor of the channel. So stay tuned for more information on powertrains. But that price seems high. Basically, say to them, I'm interested, but not at that price. There's a lot they can shave off the price of that. Would you use the Porsche subscription service? It really depends on how much money you make and if you have the disposable income to do it. You know what I would really consider though? If you were really in the market to buy a Porsche and you didn't know which one you wanted and you wanted to try some without just getting the typical 30-minute test drive from the dealer, sign up for maybe a month and book in a bunch of vehicles that you might consider driving. Like you might get a Cayenne, and then you might get a Macan, then you might get a Macan GTS, and then you might get a different Cayenne. And then you have a month's worth of test drives under your belt to see what you like and you don't like, and then you might go ahead and buy one. So it could be a good way to do a test drive, but that's really up to you. This subscription service, there's beautiful cars and they have a great job. They valet it to your house, but it all depends on how much money you make. For someone that's considering putting $150,000 or $200,000 into a car, for them to maybe put $5,000 or $10,000 into a summer of driving a convertible, they can keep their money invested and use the investment to pay for that car for the summer. I'm not sure what your situation is. What are your thoughts on paint and dent protection packages from dealers on new cars? Okay, as I just mentioned about the warranty, this is a profit center for the dealerships. They make money selling you this. So when you buy a car, you deal with the salesperson. Then the salesperson runs to the general sales manager. Oh, we've approved, giving you a little discount, okay? Then you go into the back office to the person that does all the paperwork. That's called the business office. That person sitting there is a salesperson. Don't think they're not selling you stuff. So paint protection, dent protection, all of that stuff, they're making money on it, okay? So the paint protection you can have done, you can have the car ceramic coated. You can do all of that stuff outside of the dealer. All you need to do is type in, auto detailers near where you live, look up paint protection, and there'll be a whole bunch of stuff that pops up, and often it'll be much less expensive. The dent one and the wheel protection package, like if you scratch the wheels, they'll fix them, might be worth it if you're not good with your cars. If you look after your cars and you make sure you don't scratch the wheels and you don't, park where you could get it dented, it might be overkill, but that's something to consider. One thing to keep in mind though, these things do age out. I did this. I bought a wheel protection package on our Audi A7. And like a fool, I didn't read the fine print. And then when we were about to give the car back at the end of the lease, I said, I'd like to get there's a few little curb marks on the wheels. I'd like to get them done. And they said, that was only for 3 years. I was like, what? I never even used it. So think about that. Check into the fine print. Paint protection you can get done outside the dealership. Look into what they're offering you and what kind of package you get. Oh my God, someone has got, I just scrolling to the bottom here. Lisa Hilton has got way too much time. Richard's here with a super chat. Hi from Chestermere, Alberta. Beer o'clock. I have a 17 XT5. Had a little hiccup before, but got it resolved now. Loving it. It is what you mentioned before. Well, that's good. Not sure what the hiccup was, but things can happen. I do like the XT5. We're going to get one in August. In a few weeks, we get the XT4. We've been looking forward to getting it because I'm kind of a fan of it, and I haven't driven it since I went to the launch several years ago. Actually, that story I told you about driving the Cadillac CT6 down the I-5 towards Seattle was for the CT4 event. Drove all the way down with the CT6, which is a beautiful car, and drove the XT4. Okay. Gotta find where I was. I got a lot of questions today. Okay, so we have 128 thumbs up. We could do better, gang. I know we can do better. Only if you want to. Hi, and when did you discover your love for Porsche? Was it about their product appeals to you? This I bought when I was 11 years old with my own money. I could walk you to the store where I bought it. I bought this on Rose Street in Edinburgh in Scotland. I was there visiting, my mum lives in Scotland. My family's originally from Edinburgh, and I was walking down Rose Street. There's no cars, it's a pedestrian street, and it's kind of like a laneway behind the main Princess Street. And there's I think it's either a toy store or a toy department of a big department store facing that back lane. And I spotted this in the window. And as an 11-year-old, I went in with my own money and I bought this car. Now, how cool is that? So that is an old 911. Now, if you had the real one of these, it would be worth a bomb. But I don't know what it is about that. I've always been into cars. And, this is one of the most famous shapes in the auto industry. This, the Beetle, the Jeep. There's maybe a few others, but those three for sure you can spot from 100, 500 mile away what that is. So when I got a chance to test drive Porsches in the early 90s, the first car I ever drove... Oh, wait, let's back that up a little bit. I used to work at the racetrack in Toronto in valet parking. So all of these high rollers would come in with their fancy cars. And I remember a couple of things. First of all, the old Mercedes-Benz, those in those days were the old 380 SEL and the 450 SEL, and then the 450 SL and the 380 SL. These guys would come in, and I would drive those big sedans or those two doors, and I would close the door, thunk, and I would drive away. And the one that had 10,000 kilometers on it drove exactly the same way as the one that had 150,000 kilometers on it. Now that was impressive. In those days, I was like, now these cars are well made. And every once in a while, a Porsche would come in. The very first 911 I ever drove was a Guards Red 911 SC Targa top, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. The sound, the feel, the whole thing. And I thought, oh my God, this is exactly what I thought it would be. So I drove that, and then got to test drive press cars. And the late Tony Morris Sr. Used to run the press cars here in Vancouver, and he put me into a 993 Carrera Cabriolet. It was polar silver or Arctic silver with a blue interior and a blue roof. And that's when I was dating Andrea. And we drove all over the city. It was in the summertime. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to one day get one of these cars, which I did. I own two 993s. So I don't know. It's just all that mystique and all that stuff that Porsche sells you on in their marketing. It's all real. People have that affinity for the brand. They have some, and then the upside is the cars deliver. They're wonderful cars, and in my experience, they're very reliable. And the cost of ownership, once again, the total cost of ownership, buying it, keeping it, maintaining it, and selling it, on all of the Porsches that we've owned, we've barely lost any money on any of them. Our Cayenne we had for 6 years, and it cost me $335 a month. That's how much it depreciated. I mean, you get a Corolla for that amount of money. So you have to know what you're buying. You have to do your homework. But yeah, that's a long story. But I went down memory lane there. 911, an SC Guards Red. I remember that car. I think it had the black seats. And then the 993 cab. That was a beautiful car. Now that the Taycan outsells the Panamera 4-1 and makes up 80% of Porsche sedan sales, what is your opinion? Pent-up demand, fundamental shift to EVs? Pent-up demand is a big part of it. And you got to remember, people that can afford these cars want to be seen in the new it thing, right? It's a lot of it can just be status. I want to have the newest, latest thing. Pent-up demand, and the Taycan's a hell of a car. I would suspect that probably Panamera will be redone with just a few trims. Part of the problem with the Panamera is they have way too many trims, way too many versions of it. I love the Panamera. I would love to own one, but there you go. I think that fundamentally there's a shift towards people wanting an it car to be electric. Hey, Zach, do you know anyone in Hyundai, Canada? Of course I do. If you can tell them to sort out their dreadful Blue Link smartphone app, slightly spoils the overall experience of owning a Hyundai. All right, I'll let them know. What are your thoughts on Honda? Did they hold their value similarly to Toyota? The new HR-V looks like a mini Macan. Honda does a very good job with their residual values. Yes, they're maybe not exactly as high as some Toyotas. I think it depends on the car. So we're getting the new Civic next week. And a friend of mine just bought a new Civic, got the brand new 2022, just picked it up on the weekend. And he puts some high mileage on his old Civic he uses as a runaround in the city. And he says, the thing's bulletproof. I just love them. It's just a great car to have in the city. Doesn't use much gas, easy to park. I don't worry about it. It's reliable. So there you go. I think that, Toyota and Honda are in the same sentence. Are they in the same breath? I'm not sure, because Honda has had issues. A lot of people would say their quality is slipping, especially around the 1.5 liter turbocharged engine. But I think overall they still make some excellent cars. Julie, would you buy a Mazda CX-5 or a Subaru Forester? Well, it really comes down to what you're using it for. I think they're both wonderful cars. I suggest you watch tomorrow. We've got the RAV4 and the CX-5 comparison tomorrow. The Forester is much more utilitarian. It's just a really well-designed piece of equipment. Okay, there's nothing fancy about it, but it does a really good job at what it's designed to do. It's designed to move people around. It's comfortable. It's utilitarian. There's nothing fancy about it in any way. It's going to have better ground clearance than the CX-5. It's going to have arguably a better all-wheel drive system, and all of those sorts of things. The CX-5 is pushing more into the premium space. Nicer interior, nicer materials, sportier drive, sexier looking, all of that kind of stuff. So you have to do a gut check. Do I want to have that sleeker, more sexy kind of thing, or I just want utility? And that's where the Forester plays. What do you think of the GR86? Would it make a good daily driver? I think it depends on where you live. I mean, with the kind of weather you have to deal with, a rear-wheel drive car, you have to really think about that. So I'm not sure where you live, but yeah, you could for sure. What are your thoughts on the upcoming Cadillac Lyriq? Well, they have moved up the release date of the Lyriq by 6 months, from what I understand. They are going hard at General Motors. We haven't really seen the real push of what General Motors is going to be producing in terms of electrified vehicles. I was just reading another article today that Ford and General Motors are making announcement after announcement saying how much money they're throwing at their electrified portfolio in the upcoming years, and they're trying to outdo each other. This bodes well for the consumer to have lots of choice for EV production. So the Lyriq is going to be the basis or that platform for other vehicles. So you could certainly see a Buick version, a Chevrolet version, a GMC version. There's going to be lots and lots of releases coming after that product is announced. The one thing I think is really exciting is that General Motors, in my opinion, is sharpening their pencil when it comes to pricing of their electric vehicles. The Bolt was a perfect example. They dropped the price by $5,000 of the upcoming Bolt in the United States and $8,000 in the Canadian market. Same powertrain, which is already a very good powertrain, but a new design outside and inside based on the same platform. It's more of a facelift than anything, but still a wonderful package. In my opinion, the best value in the electric car space. And they're going to be taking that model and spreading it through their upcoming range of vehicles. So Lyriq has the same sort of dash and infotainment system as the Escalade, which is pretty cool. So the proof is going to be when we get a chance to drive it. But what really gets me excited is how aggressive they are being on price. What is the price again? I think the Lyriq starts at $60,000 for a Cadillac and a pure electrified vehicle. Sounds pretty compelling. I need an SUV and not sure what to get. It is stressing me out. Well, Ink with Heather, I think we need a little bit more information, like what size vehicle are you thinking of getting? How much do you want to spend? All those sorts of things are really important. Which ones have you seen that kind of interest you? You might have seen one on the road. You think that's kind of nice. But this is good advice for anybody writing in the comments. Oh, here we go. My Ford Escape lease is almost up, and I'm looking at the Seltos. Seltos, a great product. Have a look at the Hyundai Kona. They just did a refresh on the Kona. The Seltos and the Kona share platforms, engines, transmissions. The Seltos is a little bit bigger. Have you tried the new Escape? I think they did a fantastic job with the new Escape, especially if you get the hybrid version. I think they did an excellent job with that. So those are good choices. The CX-5 is another one. The RAV4, there's lots to think about. So a little bit more detail would be good. Dan Min. Hey, Zach, would you buy a Santa Fe or a hybrid Tucson? I'm 6'1" tall, and I want the car to travel with my wife for several states. Are you talking about the size? I have no problem. I have a very long torso. I'm 6 feet tall, but I have the torso of a giant, and I have no problem sitting in it. I wouldn't have any issue saying, yeah, you're going to fit in it at 6'1". Hey, Zach, a while ago, someone asked you, what's the meaning of life? Did you ever figure it out? Cheers from Marpole. I think if you ever figure it out, then you get zapped off this planet and you go somewhere else. So maybe that's your whole journey on this on this earth is to try and figure that out. As soon as you figure it out, you get sucked out and you're gone. And everybody goes, where'd Zach go? He figured out the meaning of life, and then it's over. Maybe that's it. Ink with Heather is adding more stuff. I like the size of the Ford Escape, but I haven't seen the Celtos in person. The Celtos are great. I like the new Ford Escape. I go back to your Ford dealer and see what they can do for you. I think they did a very good job compared to your old one. A really good job. Often, though, when you come back as an existing customer, you get a really good deal. Has your existing Ford Escape been good? That would be a question. Here's Ken, who is considering getting the Carnival instead of the Odyssey. Our Odyssey has been terribly unreliable. Left my wife stranded numerous times. Kia also has way better ground clearance. Wife uses it to bring meals out to the field. All right. You're the third or fourth person I've heard that about the Honda Odyssey. Our neighbor down the street had a full load Honda Odyssey Touring and got rid of it and bought a Volvo XC60. Her kids are older now. She doesn't really need a minivan for hauling them around. Two of them are off to university. So she said, I got rid of it. It was horrible. It was always breaking down, which is not what you expect to hear from Honda. But that's more grandmother research. She's not a grandmother. You know what I mean. Backyard research. But there you go. I think the Carnival, they did a really wonderful job. Would you buy a Maserati Ghibli for 30,000 miles, 30,000 US dollars, or avoid it completely? I don't know. I don't really follow too much about it. It's the Chrysler 300 platform, which has been incredibly reliable for Chrysler and for Dodge. But that particular model, my gut says, yeah, there are better choices out there for your money. And that's probably, like, you know what? It's not going to have the same curb appeal, but you could get a Chrysler 300C with a Hemi V8 engine that is incredibly reliable. That's going to give you not the same experience, but a similar kind of experience. Hey Zach, just wondering how Car Cost Canada makes a buck when their service is free. I used with great results, though a couple of dealers wouldn't play ball. Yeah, I mean, it's up to the dealer to deal with you. You can, however, get Car Cost Canada to do a favorable introduction for you. So they know the dealers that will work with them to get you a better deal. So if you're going to go on to Car Cost Canada, use the promo code MotorMouth, get you those free searches. And then if you don't want to do the negotiating, as Jeff just mentioned, they will do a introduction for you and get you a good deal. So how do they make their money? Well, first of all, there's paid searches. So they're giving you some free as part of the MotorMouth promo that we've set up. So I think you get 5 free searches. After that, you can buy them in batches. So they make some money on that. Also, if a dealer transacts with you, they get basically like a finder's fee from the dealer for that, or it's called lead generation. So that's how they make their money. Would you consider all-terrain tires in a RAV4 or Forester if gas mileage isn't a big deal? Would they be fine for Vancouver winters? Yeah, but you have to look for ones that are rated for winter, and a lot of them are, and all-terrain tires do often have great winter road capabilities. However, it is going to affect gas mileage and maybe ride as well. So what brands and which ones are good for winter driving, that's some research you'd have to do on your own, but certainly you could put an all-terrain tire on. Josh in Montreal, my uncle replaced his 18 BMW M550 with a new M550. Great all-around vehicle. Nice. He's got some good taste. 2.5 is double last year's EV sales. EVs make up 9% in BC. Again, double last year. Regular cars lost 20% in pandemic. Well, listen, you can't compare pandemic The car market has absolutely roared back ever since the pandemic has started to wane here. So you would have to look at averages over 2 or 3 years. So 2021, 2022, 2023. There's a reason why EV sales are high in jurisdictions like British Columbia and Quebec, because the government is paying you to buy a car. That's really the essence of it. You look in jurisdictions where there's no rebates, sales are rather low. And even though, no, I don't think sales are up double in the United States. They weren't as low as 1.25%, but yeah. Listen, even if we were at 10% EV sales across North America, that means 90% of vehicles being sold today are still internal combustion engines. That's the truth. Hey, Zach, love the content you and Andrea put together. Very informative and fun at the same time. Quick question. Do you know any updates on the XC90? Is it going to have longer range for T8? I just got an email from Volvo today saying, hey, come test drive our car. And a lot of times I think, why bother? Nothing's changed. I haven't heard anything about it. One of the problems that Volvo had with the XC90, the previous version, is they let it sit on the shelf for 12 years. I don't think that's going to happen this time around because of Geely's involvement with the brand and a big push towards electrification, but I haven't heard any major announcements around that. Okay, one more super chat. Sure I didn't miss any others here because these are paying customers. Kachin. Hi from New Jersey. Thanks for your content. We had a 16 Tucson fully loaded, sold it after we had transmission replaced 3 times. Holy crap. Harness 2 times. How is the 2022 hybrid? Any guesstimates with resale value for hybrids? Well, you can go and look up the calculations for these on websites like Kelley Blue Book. You're in the United States, so it's much easier for you. That will give you the residual value. Another thing you can do is you can just call the dealer and say to them, based on a lease, what, you say a 4-year, if I was going to get a 4-year lease, what is the residual value based on? Like, what's the buyout based on? Because lease are all calculated on what the manufacturer believes the resale value of the vehicle will be. So if they do it at, say, 60%, meaning the vehicle will be worth 60% of its original value after 4 years, then you know basically what they believe how it's going to depreciate. And they're actually quite accurate. I mean, these forecasting companies do a pretty good job of predicting which vehicles they think are going to hold value and not hold value. So it is available for you online. You can look up Kelley Blue Book. You can call the dealership and ask them, what is the retained value for lease purposes on the Tucson hybrid? And if the salesperson's any good, they should be able to look that up for you, no problem at all. So there you go. That's one way to do it. Sorry to hear about your Tucson. That's a shame because, yeah, you just never know. One car to the next, one's fine, one isn't. So all right, there you go. It's after 6 here on the West Coast. We've been on for over an hour. It's chicken tacos tonight, friends. So I'm going to say farewell. I'll see you next Monday. First full day of summer. We kicked it off with a good one tonight. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. RAV4 Mazda CX-5. Wednesday, it's the Infiniti QX60 update. We've got the images and information on that. Also, the Pacifica plug-in video will be out, full review. Friday, it's going to be a 911 Cabriolet market update on the 911 sales. And then on Saturday, it's the Crosstrek, the outdoor version. So we'll see you throughout the week, and make sure you follow along on Instagram, and we'll chat with you next time. Good night, everyone.